Einstein stated that everything is energy. Match the frequency of the reality that you desire, and you cannot help but have it. There is no other way. This isn't philosophy, this is physics. Today, I'm going to take you through exactly what that means for you when it comes to reality creation. I'm going to show you how you can shift your state so you can attract and have the results that you desire without the hustle and constantly feeling like no matter how much effort you put into things, it just doesn't happen for you. Let's get straight into it. The first time that I came across this quote, it was actually 10 years ago, and I had a collection of photos on my wall in my living room, and I didn't realize the impact that this one quote was going to have. In fact, I have the exact image that was put on my wall right here, and I've kept it all these years. And I never realized what an impact it was going to have and what an impact it's going to have with the information I'm going to share with you today. You see, most people spend a lifetime chasing their desires and chasing their lives based on what they believe is outside of them. When Einstein was referring to that everything is energy, it comes back to the conversation of vibration and frequency. Now, each and every one of us starts off with an internal state. The internal state is how we are feeling most of the time. And the issue with this is for most people who are stressed and high strung, they don't realize that they are actually emitting a sense of being, a state that is attracting the reoccurring loops of the difficulties and challenges that are occurring for them. You may have heard statements such as, you don't attract what you desire, you attract what you are. What you are is the state, the feeling that you're having most of the time. Now, most of the feelings that you are experiencing in your environment, in your role, in your workplace, in your career, is based on the predominant thoughts that you're having. Now, when Einstein refers to that everything is energy, and you need to match the frequency of your desires in order to match that reality, that this is physics, it is not philosophy. I'm going to break down exactly what that means for you. So right now, you have a state of being. Most people are predominantly feeling stressed. The common emotions that people are feeling is overstimulation, and they're not realizing that they're overstimulated. They're feeling stressed, overwhelmed. They're feeling that they're not where they need to be, so they're behind. They're behind the goals that they have. They're seeing other people win and succeed, and it may bring up feelings of jealousy or resentment. For example, they may see people less talented than them, less experienced than them, but they seem to be having greater goals, winning greater goals, being ahead, achieving things. So hence it creates this level of frustration, and it can create a sense of feeling inadequate, a sense of feeling pressure, a sense of feeling that things are not aligning for you, so you're out of alignment. And here's the thing. When Einstein refers to that everything is energy, he is 100% accurate about that, because your state is absolutely influenced by the dominant thoughts that you are having. And the dominant thoughts that you are having, the ones that are charged with emotion, which is what we're seeing here that I've written. For example, these are a series of emotions. There are multiple emotions you could be feeling. So charged with emotion, that charge is what leads to the emitting of a frequency. So think of it this way. When you've walked into a room and you feel this feeling of it just doesn't feel right, something feels off, that's a frequency. you walk into another room at another time and you just feel completely calm and relaxed, and there's a knowing within you that this is the right place. That's a frequency. Something is emitting, an experience is occurring in that environment, and we're using the term frequency and energy. You're feeling the energy. Some people refer to it as vibe. Place whatever word you want to place there. It's all the same thing. Now, when Einstein says that you need to match the reality, the frequency of the reality that you desire. Now, I recall back when I was first getting into this work, before I truly understood it, and I understood conceptually what Einstein was saying, but I wasn't necessarily understanding how to do it and also how to maintain it. And this is the thing, most people don't know how to maintain the state of their desired reality. Now, how does this even work? Now, today I've expressed to you that there are dominant thoughts charged with dominant emotions, and I've listed some emotions here. And you can see that if this was you, for example, that you're feeling this pressure and resistance. This resistance is what occurs and builds up within you. This pressure builds up that makes you feel that you are not in alignment with the path that you want to be leading on. Now, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are someone who is an athlete, a performer, someone who is under a level of pressure, regardless of what it is that you're doing, a leader in your field, that there will be times where you're feeling this pressure. Now, there is a level of pressure that is good and that helps shape one into refinement and self-mastery, and that is a topic we can get into potentially further on or in another episode. But today what I'm referring to is the type of pressure that you feel that you're just not where you want to be in life, and things don't feel aligned to what you imagine life would be, whether that's in your business, whether that's in your personal life. What you will find is a lot of the work that I teach, if not in fact all of it, is holistically can be applied to multiple facets of your life. Hence why when I'm coaching and mentoring entrepreneurs, 6 to 9 figure entrepreneurs, business owners, high achievers, founders, people in the process of self-mastery, when these clients choose to work with me, what they experience is a shift not only in their state, but a shift in how they approach their business, but how they approach their roles, how they approach teams, how they approach their lives. And hence it even goes into relationships, wellness, and so on, because this work applies across multiple disciplines. That's why it's so valuable. Your frequency is predominantly determined by the state that you are predominantly holding. So what is the dominant state? And whether you realize it or not, most people are in a state of overstimulation, stress, worry, concern, frustration, bitterness, comparison. Much of that overstimulation is from occurrences in their life, but it is also from overstimulation with the information that they are experiencing and receiving through social media, through the news, through media itself, through written format, and so on, through people that they're interacting with. Now, all of this affects your frequency. So when it comes to your frequency, it is absolutely affected by all of this stimulus that is occurring outside of you. If you are not aware, conscious of how to manipulate how that energy is actually impacting you, and instead focusing on who you are and your internal state, which is what Einstein is referring to by matching the frequency of your desired reality. What's he actually saying there? Now think about it. Most people believe that is, oh, okay, let me go put myself in an environment where there is affluence or wealth. Let me go put myself into my desired reality. Perhaps that means wearing designer labels to feel more affluent. Why do people who don't have the financial overflow and the flow of money heavily invest or heavily put money into things that will take up a big chunk of their money, but it's just so they feel that they're part of the status of having this depiction of feeling wealthy, when in turn they're not actually wealthy? This is a major epidemic that is happening across many cultures that you could easily think of and pick out straight away, because they are trying to match the frequency of their desired reality, but they're doing it in reverse. I'm going to show you why it doesn't work and why people who are spending in, I'm not saying don't go buy nice things. What I'm saying is the people who are putting themselves in these environments and situations where it makes them feel affluent or elevated or special, the experience itself, it makes you feel that way for a short period. Have you ever thought about it, why you don't continuously feel wealthy or feel pampered or special or affluent? It's because that feeling only lasts a temporary time, because it is not your predominant state. Einstein is talking about matching the frequency of your desired reality. That doesn't mean temporarily going into those environments and experiences so you are matching it and hence feeling it, because some people use this technique and that is why it is temporary and it doesn't change your life. It doesn't change your results. It doesn't bring in the things that you want to see shifting in your life, so you can truly hold them and experience them from a place of embodiment and truth. What actually needs to be occurring, rather than you accumulating all of these possessions to feel wealthy? And also, if we peel it back a layer, why are most people in pursuit of wealth? They're in pursuit of wealth because they're looking for something beyond material. They're believing that once they attain the material level of, they believe they're going to be experiencing, the truth of it is freedom of choice, status, elevation, which means respect. And for men in particular, it's power. So having greater access to resources means having greater influence. So people really, essentially, they're looking for influence. And why are they looking for influence? They're looking for influence. Now, it depends what the intention is behind this. So say you are coming from a good place and you are essentially doing your best to be a good person in this lifetime, that you want to influence the world, you want to influence your market, you want to influence your clients, you want to influence your family, to have better experiences, whatever that is that you provide, for example, as a service, as a product, as an offering, whatever it is that contributing to this world. Most people want a greater level of influence. Why do they want a greater level of influence? Let's taper it back. This is all going to tie into what Einstein is saying. They want a greater level of influence because they want to feel, human beings want to feel seen, they want to feel valued, they want to feel heard, and ultimately, humans, they want to feel loved. Some people express wanting to feel loved in very negative ways because they truly don't know how to be loved. They haven't experienced it, so it comes out. Think of it almost like a child who's having a tantrum, still getting the attention. Now, some people, they will interpret attention and love as the same thing, but it is not the same thing. Attention is, people will do anything to get that attention because it believes that deep down in the core of every human being is either wanting to survive, and the ones who surpass the desire to want to survive because they have the stability, the security, they have the well-being, they have the resources and the infrastructure around them to feel that they're beyond surviving, they step into thrive. And there's levels beyond thrive that we can talk about that go into consciousness and creating greater impact in the world to build legacy and to build something that lives beyond them. Now, most people on this planet, they're stuck in survive mode. There are the fewer numbers. So if we were to put this in a percentage, let's say 97% of people are in survival mode, even though they're reflecting out to the world that they are thriving, it is a performance. It is not the truth. And hence, when you're looking outside of yourself now, as we reflect back to Einstein, when he was saying match the frequency of the reality that you desire. Now, if you are an entrepreneur, or if you are an athlete or a performer, and you are gauging your level of success, for example, whatever your role is in life, even if you are a mother or a father and you're comparing your results to somebody else, you do not know what the reality of that person's world is. I have coached team members and I have coached clients before, letting them know you could be replicating somebody who actually is broke, or somebody who has a broke mindset, a broke health set, when I've made that word up specifically, a broke approach to health, to well-being, to relationships, and you're modeling that life, not realizing that you're picking up on that frequency because you're picking up on the habits and the behaviorals from a perspective that doesn't truly understand what's happening internally. So hence what's happening is you're modeling the behaviors which are the outcome of that person's inner world, and that inner world may not be healthy, it may not be aligned, it may not be congruent, it may not be truthful, it may not be integral. It absolutely isn't aligned to who you are, because each and every one of us is so unique and incredibly capable of giving something beyond what it is that we experience in this world, and giving something beyond ourselves, so it impacts and creates greater good for others. Now, not everybody makes that choice. When I'm saying is there are people who clearly are living a negative frequency experience in this lifetime, and what we do is we look at them and we learn through contrast. We say, well, that's not the life that I'm choosing, that's not the behaviorals, the manner, the language, the products, the services that I choose to create impact with in this world. So we can learn from a step away, but contrast as well, but not being consumed by it. So when Einstein is referring to that you need to become the frequency of this desired reality, he is referring to the work that I teach, which is about becoming in complete coherence with your state of being the predominant state that you hold. Now, before I mentioned, your state is the feeling that you embody most of the time. You may have excellent thoughts, you may have wonderful morning routines, you may have excellent routines or experiences in the evening, during the week, that helps you really get in touch with yourself, or puts you in a position of feeling empowered, relaxed, whatever those outcomes are that you choose to have through those experiences. But however, if your thoughts are telling you that you are going to be wealthy, rich, successful, prosperous, abundant, loved, a pioneer, a trailblazer, the best in your field, you're going to reach 100K, 500K a month, 1 million a month, 10 million a month, doesn't matter, whatever the number, it's all relatively the same when it comes to this framework. You cannot achieve and become the frequency of that desired reality if your thoughts, even though your thoughts may be thinking, this is what I desire, this is what I want to achieve and become, if your internal state is separated, and what I mean by that is you are not coherently aligned from mind to feeling in who you are and how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your vision, how you feel in your nervous system. Like, can you actually hold those numbers? Can you actually hold the reality that you're desiring? Because there's a reason why most entrepreneurs, high achievers, people in the process of self-mastery, athletes, performers, founders, there's a reason why they shrink back and they cannot get to the next level. And that is the work that I do with my 6 to 9 figure entrepreneurs, my high achievers, clients who come to me across the board who want to pierce that invisible ceiling. The frequency that you're holding is coming from the state that you are holding. Now, we can refer to state. You may have heard terms as self-concept. It is your identity. It is the vision that you have for yourself, the feelings that you hold. It's how you think about yourself. It's the beliefs that you hold. All of that comes together and it forms your state. Now, your state is fragmented into, I'm going to share what it is influenced by. And if you are not working on developing these elements of your state, you cannot become the match to your desired reality. Because if your state, which is influenced by your beliefs, it is influenced by your perception, how you see the world and how you experience everything. And speaking of perception, have you ever been in the room and you've been there with other people who think quite differently to you and potentially have a very different way of processing their emotions? And an incident occurs in that room, and to you it may look completely harmless or peaceful, or you may be able to intuitively feel something is off, and the other person has a completely different experience and perception and opinion about that incident. That is because your perception is uniquely tied to who you are and the unique lens that you are wearing every single moment of your life and the way you're perceiving reality. That has an interference in your reality creation, because you cannot match the frequency of your desired reality. Well, you cannot elevate your state to be the match of that desired reality if your perception is skewed. Your perception is highly influenced by your beliefs. It is highly influenced by your expectations of what you subconsciously expect to keep arising in your reality. Now let's talk about this from a relationship lens. If you are there are people out there who continuously think that, I use this example because it's a common one that arises for people, that it's difficult to find somebody who is a great person to be in a relationship with, or that most men are, insert the word there, controlling, whatever word you want to put in there. Most women are, I put a dash there, insert the word there. What word would you put there about women? And that comes down to these programmed, which Bob Proctor used to refer to as your paradigm, which is quite powerful. Now, your paradigm, it's a program. It's a program that's in your subconscious mind. Now, your subconscious mind impacts 95% of your reality creation. Your conscious mind, which is the one you are aware of most of the time, is only 5%. So you are creating your reality from the part of you that is the most unaware. And your subconscious mind, as Neville Goddard refers to, is your imagination, is memory, is, and I love this, it's the God essence. It is the part of you. Neville Goddard talks about this, and I absolutely adore it. I love this because Neville Goddard talks about this as well, and I've personally experienced this, and my clients experience this. It is the part of you, and all of us are experiencing this, but most of us just don't know how to work with it. It is the God essence. It is the part of you that God is working through your subconscious mind. It's the higher faculties of who you are and how you create in this lifetime. Your state is also affected by your emotionally charged thoughts. It is affected by your dominant emotions, so they're charged. Now, think about this. If I said to you right now, think of a time in your life where you felt such a peak state, like such an elevated state. Now really feel into those feelings. Remember that memory as if you're back there again. Now, what were those feelings? Can you feel those feelings, how intense they are? The reason why you are remembering that so clearly is because those emotions were so charged. And I refer in my teachings quite often about conviction and certainty. Now, conviction is that level of emotion, that life force that the Creator works with us. It is the supercharge of getting the results that you want in life and how you create in life. Some people refer to it as passion and inspiration. It's conviction. It's the truth in your words. It's the people can feel you through your words and feel you through your actions. For an artist, they can feel you through your creations. For a designer, they can feel the conviction in the designs, the way that the clothing's draping. For a conductor who's conducting an orchestra, the audience can feel the conviction because it's the full level, the full visceral level commitment to what you believe, to what you create, to what you are expressing through you in that very moment.